All right, welcome folks, it's Matrix Live. We've got two demos for you. We have Andy who's going to tell us all about the stock notifications on the web client. We've got Joanne who's going to show us all about the new room header. Andy, you're right there.
Hello, so probably everyone who's been using Element Web has heard about or been hit by, let's not look at the mountain of time, the problem of what we've been calling stuck notifications, which covers a whole load of things. So one of the problems we've had dealing with stuck notifications is knowing exactly what the problem was and being able to recreate it in a reasonable way and debug it. Basically, knowing exactly what caused this stuff to happen. So the problem is basically around messages or rooms looking like you haven't read them when you have, or they've got notifications when you know that you've already seen that notification. And the problem really comes from disagreements between different parts of the system, knowing whether a message was really read or not, which is often about what order the messages come in. But yeah, a big problem we've had is actually just being able to identify what was not working and therefore being clear enough to fix it. So what you can hopefully see on the screen is our big answer to how to deal with this situation, which is a potentially huge suite of tests that cover all the different situations that might happen that might cause stuck notifications. So you can see it all running through, but I'm just going to show you a little bit of the code of the test to try and help you understand how this all works. So here's a couple of the tests, and you can see that they're quite simple and easy to understand if you get your head around the way they're expressed. So essentially, we go into a room, and then we make the assertion that at the moment this room is all red and there's no unreads in there. And then we receive a message in that room, and then we assert that now that room is unread because a message has arrived inside that room. So that's the simplest test, and they get more and more complicated and do all kinds of things. If we have a look at one of the threads tests, we do things like go into a different room, receive a message in the original room, therefore it's unread, and then mark it all as read. And then later we receive a message in a thread in that room, and then we assert that that means that the room itself is unread because you've got a message within a thread. And then the cases get more and more complicated, and I won't go down to the tests that get longer. But there are things like I received a message in a thread that was where the thread root was a reply, and then you edited one of the messages in the thread, and then there was a response to that, a reaction to that. And keeping your head around all the different messages that are going on is why some of this unread notification stuff, stuck notification stuff is difficult. But yeah, so we've got this whole load of tests. A lot of them are just names of tests at the moment. We're going to be filling them in gradually over the next few weeks. But the plan here is to stop having a kind of whack-a-mole style of we fix one bug and it causes 3 more by just pinning down every single scenario that we've got with a test that we can run over and over every time we make any change. In particular, the advantage of this test suite is that it works at very high level, as you saw, driving the browser. So if we change the underlying implementation, which we will be doing when we're fixing some of these bugs, because we're going to need changes to the spec to get them fixed, then these tests will still be relevant and probably won't need changing at all to verify what we've done. It also means we can track our progress, and we've actually started tracking. We haven't been tracking for very long, but we've started tracking. Basically, what you can see here is a graph of how many tests there are, how many of them are currently actually written, as opposed to just being tests that we plan to write, how many of them are passing, how many of them are failing. Some of those failures we're going to need to fix by changes to the spec. Some are just going to be bugs in the code. I also expect the total number will go up as we think of more cases that we hadn't thought of yet. And also as bugs come in, we will turn those into new tests so that once we've fixed it, it won't come back. And that is the new set of tests for stuck notifications.
Very nice. Thank you. All right. You're gonna.
Hey everyone. So I'm Germain. I'm working on the web team, and I'm also working on the compound team with Nad, Hanno, Aaron, Callum. And today I'd like to show you a bit about what we've been doing in the recent months, and especially the room header. So this is Element as you know it today. You can see a room with this room header right here. What we've done is try to understand the different flow of the user, did a bit of a user research to understand what were the main sticking points, and clarify the navigation of the product. What we landed on is this. So you can see a revamped version of the room header, where you have on the right-hand side an indicator of the number of people that are in the room. We've had strong signal that people who join the room will behave differently if there's 5 people or if there's 1,000 people in that room. We've also tried to simplify the navigation on the top right to essentially have only primary actions, and all of the other features that are either in labs or probably a bit less polished are treated as like second-class citizen and moved a bit further away in the navigation flow. So we have this more kind of like clean and spaced out header where you can still get your room topic if you want to. It will also have the full version in the background. But then if you go to a DM, you'll have a slightly different view, and you can now see that, for example, this room is you're fully verified with that user, and you don't have a face bar on the right-hand side because this is just a DM with that user. And this is pretty much what we've been up to, trying to kind of like rebuild that in Element Web, paying off the debt and rebuilding it the right way with all of the new coding convention and the new accessibility focus that we want to have. The next thing that we're going to focus on is to rebuild the right panel right here. And you can see a quick sneak peek of what it's going to look like. So you're going to have a lot of like secondary actions on the right-hand side, whether you can turn a room into a favorite, whether you want to access your files, whether you want to access message pinning, if that's something that you've enabled in labs. And yeah, I want to give a huge kudos to Aaron, Callum, and everyone else who's been involved in design because they've put a lot of thoughts and effort into this, and I've just been implementing it in the product. But it's been a huge team effort. So that's it for Element Web.